a lot of us, especially as black men, sometimes things happen and we go to sleep at night and we wake up the next day wanting to do something to alleviate some of that stuff, or at least bring awareness. And obviously that's what you did with a lot of these different pieces. Talk about what it was like existing back then, where it was more prevalent, and then maybe now where people are more, I guess we're back into the kind of the shiny suit era where it's like people are more about money and drugs and stuff like that, and are not really into the whole black aesthetic.
Well, I think for us when we started, and especially when we very first started, it was a reaction to what was happening in the market in terms of clothing in particular. So at that point, this was before, like, there was streetwear, before there was really even the concept of brand in a hip hop streetwear sort of way. And the T-shirts that we found, or we saw people wearing a lot of, were T-shirts that were like Black Bart, like a Black Bart Simpson, or it's a black thing you wouldn't understand with a Batman symbol. And we're like, this is like stupid. Like, this is just dumb. Like, what are you saying, and why are you wasting this opportunity? If you're going to say something, say something.
Right.
Be about something. So we were like, people wanted to be about something, and like people wanted that Public Enemy experience, and they wanted that Spike Lee experience, and we wanted to be a part of what what was happening there, as opposed to just putting some stupid slang or knocking off a Calvin Klein T-shirt. So it was all about the message at that point. I think as the brand and as I've evolved, it's about a message, but it's also about the product. And so I think that there are people now who may be as involved, or maybe as connected to the problems that are happening in society, but maybe clothing isn't the way to express it in the way that it used to be. So there's a lot of different ways you can express your discontent. There's a lot of different ways you can sort of let people know what your point of view is. What I needed a T-shirt to do in 1990, I can do with my Tumblr or my Instagram now. So I don't know that the need to express your point of view or your position or how you feel about certain things exists in the same way for clothing as it did back then. So at the same time, I think that there is a portion of the market, at least, and I'm hoping, because in order for my brand and what I do, what we do, to be relevant, there has to be a market that agrees and cares. I think there's a portion of people who want to say something in a more subtle way, perhaps, but still puts them in a position to to say, this is who I am and what I'm about.
Speak to, like, because this is all relevant. I think when the I Can't Breathe tees came out, I think like everybody was trying to get them like hot fire, and not just because it's the cool T-shirt, but I think that everybody had these feelings and they're tweeting about it, but people are like, nobody cares about that after 2 minutes. What can I do? And then, the I Can't Breathe kind of stuff came around, and everybody started buying up that. When I thought about that, I actually did think about like representing through clothing again. Do you think that was just something that was just for that time, like maybe that month period, or do you think that there kind of is a revitalization and a resurgence of people that are trying to make bold statements, but not just make statements, people that are trying to actively do something and be better? Do you think that it's a real thing, or is it just some hype?
In my heart of hearts, I'd like to believe that it is, but the I Can't Breathe T-shirt doesn't really exist anymore. So we've always sort of avoided sort of getting caught up with bandwagon stuff.
Yep.
And that to me was like a bandwagon reactionary thing. It happens, and then everyone's like, oh yeah, this is horrible. I want to do something about it. I'm wearing a T-shirt. And then 2 weeks later, the NBA playoffs start, and you're wearing your Derrick Rose jersey again, right? So what happens in between now and the next one? If people really care, they'll be doing something about it now, not waiting for something to happen and then reacting.
Right.
So I'm not sure that clothing is a vehicle or not. I'd like to think that some people think that it is. I'd like to hope that the next generation, because I think I'm a full generation removed at this point, sadly, from the kids. I'd like to think that there's still, you know, in that generation, there's still kids who are would rather stand out than fit in.
Mm-hmm.
And if there are, then I think my brand will be relevant to them. And if they're not, then I'll be sad.
We've, two things. One, and this is a very humble person, but honestly, and not just because he's here, pretend he's not here. Pretend he's back at U of T doing nerdy stuff or whatever.
Graduating.
How many people here feel that 2015, in this year of 2015, that if we saw like some of these powerful images, that it is something that you would want to wear and that you would want to represent? I was gonna say, for Toronto, that's like a standing ovation.